guys. This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I am live. I am very early. I just wanted to reach out to you guys. I didn't know. I said it. It was originally supposed to be for 3, but I said it for 4. No, I said it for 5, so I changed it from 3 to 5 because I had a family function. But of course, you guys just heard the crazy news concerning Terence Crawford, where this live stream was supposed to be about the celebration of Terence Crawford turning 38 years of age. Him and Alexander Usyk now are 38 years old together, still undefeated, doing their thing, and I'm happy for both of them. And it's crazy though how it's embarrassing, man. You know what I mean? Because this was supposed to be about the celebration of Terence Crawford, not really sharing it with some type of craziness. Nonetheless, we're going to celebrate it. Terence Crawford, 42 wins, no losses, no draws, 31 by knockout, 38 years of age today, September 28th. Listen, I can tell you guys something good. Jay, what's up, my brother? Counterpunch to you. Mama Lou in the building. Good evening to you as well. Crawford arrest was crazy. Hey, look. And the more I think about it, the more I think about the whole arrest and guns drawn. Bro, you cannot tell me that you are that in the dark, being a public service officer, that you have no idea who this is. That's like I live in Louisville and I have no idea who Muhammad Ali is, especially Muhammad Ali in his own town or at the time he beat George Foreman, because this is probably the equivalent of the popularity of him doing something that he didn't supposed to do, like Terence Crawford did something that he didn't supposed to do. So that's a big thing. Everybody, there's people that talk about boxing, that fight, that don't know about boxing. There's people that talk about, man, how'd you think about the fight? I'm like, you watch boxing? No, they don't. But it's on Netflix, bro. Netflix is worldwide. And you talk about a guy that represents Omaha, Nebraska, like it's any other city. Man, I'm from Omaha, Nebraska. He will be glad, proud to tell you where he's from. Only to have some piece of shit, overzealous, power-driven guys like that to do that, man, because that's just uncalled for. And the crazy thing is, this is what I was taught, okay, growing up. Because my father is ex-military, okay? So I come from a military family. My grandfather was in the Navy. My uncle was in the Navy. My father was in the Army. And I'll tell you this. What I've learned from police, that you do what you're told when a police pulls you over. You stay compliant, you do as instructed, and you shouldn't have any problems. You shouldn't have any problems. But what we're learning from the younger generation, that the public service, they're servers of the public. We pay their taxes. And you guys know how I feel about taxes. We pay their salaries. And people are now starting to really push that issue. They're starting to really come to a point where they are speaking about what they deserve and their rights. Like, because, just because the police ask you to do something you're not supposed to, which I wasn't taught that way. But in a perfect world, that is true. See, in a perfect world, you're supposed to demand certain things, serve and protect. And, you know, a lot of things that certain people can get away with, others can't. And I think it all depends on who the hell pulls you over. Because you could be pulled over by a fine, upstanding, law-abiding officer, or you could get pulled over by a Klansman. And that Klansman could use every reason why he shot you 5 times with your hands up. You know, so yeah, it's a difference between who pulls you over. I'm just thankful I can't say I've never been in situations like that, because that's bullshit. The first time I was ever pulled over, I was 15 years of age. I think I shared that with the group before, but nonetheless, that wasn't a pleasant experience, you know? But the crazy thing is, with Terence Crawford being a 38-year-old man that just had a celebration, a parade, you can't tell me that those cops didn't know who the hell he was, bro. I'm sorry. You know, even though he's not this flashy guy with 20 people in his entourage, he doesn't roll that way. So, you know, I just refuse to believe that they're that naive, that ignorant to the best boxer on the freaking planet from that place. Matisse, what's up, bro? Matisse Sports TV. What's up, bro? Counterpunch to you. You can't tell me that. When people can legally own or carry guns, it's no surprise that cops have to be cautious. That's true. But then there's a such thing as probable cause. See, when you go and you tell somebody to put your hands up, don't reach for weapons. If you had to get to that point, you had to ask the question has to be asked, because there's a standard of protocol. Why did you pull him over anyway? Did you just see 2 or 3 or whatever? Did you see some minority group in the car? Did you see, oh, well, there's a group of black guys, let's pull them over? Was that the case? Was it a light out? Was it did he run a stop sign? Was he speeding? Did he have his seatbelt on? What was the deal? And if that was all of the above, what was that justified for them to approach like that? No, it wasn't. It was not. So I just, it's crazy. Cops have massive egos. They love to flex their powers whenever they can. Happen to me, minus the gun draw. I mean, was all of my experiences bad? Hell no, they weren't. In fact, I've had more experiences from cops that were positive than negative. But again, it only takes one for you not to leave the scene of the crime or the scene of the stop. Because again, you could, fortunately for me, when I was pulled over when I was 15, I was probably as tall as I am now. And I was pulled over. Hell, I didn't have any license, and my lights were off because my young ass didn't have enough sense to turn the lights on, because I was still in the city limits. Because you had lights everywhere, so I didn't think that I needed lights. And that's a dead giveaway to get pulled over. Drive with your lights off. So I get the reason why I was stopped, even though it wasn't pleasant, because they tried to say I was robbing shit. They searched me. They were like, oh, what's this? You got a stocking cap where you put it all over your face, pull it down, they end up stretching it and tearing it. You know what I mean? It was just to keep your fucking hair in place. So yeah, that wasn't so pleasant. But there have been some that very well were. In fact, my ass was in the wrong. So I can't really say all cops, because I'm not that. I'm not against cops. So I don't want people to think I'm against cops. What I'm saying is, in America, people, from anybody that's outside of America or included in America, you know we have those bad apples. We have those cops that will fuck up a wet dream, that will make it bad for any and everyone involved. They'll have a bad name driven for everyone. And one thing in America, bro, it's, you know, we're tired of seeing these shootings that were wrong. I'm tired of seeing police bash in a window and punch a dude in the face. There's no fucking reason you'd ever hit somebody in the face unless they were hitting you back. There is no excuse for that type of shit. And like my man said, they're egos. Kurt, it is Nebraska at the end of the day. Enough said. Nothing surprises me. That's crazy, man. Now here's the thing. It could have been worse. It could have been worse. And let's say they tried to, you know, let's say they assaulted Terence Crawford. Well, assault him with what? Hit him with a blackjack, break his jaw, something like that. You know, and I just don't, there is no justification for that type of action. You know what I mean? There's no justification for that shit. Because you're thinking to yourself like, well, why did you have to handcuff him? Why did you have to put him on the curb? Why did you have to draw your firearm? You know what I mean? Because once you draw your firearm, that means you're in danger. Safety's off. And, you know, you are at risk of being shot and killed. Because if a police shoots you, they're not going to call the ambulance. That shit's not going to happen. You know what I mean? You're going to get shot, and they're going to justify it. Gun! And you know a lot of cops say that shit because they want an excuse to shoot you. He's going for a gun! And they shoot you. Knowing damn well these guys had their hands up. But then I salute and congratulate Terence Crawford and everybody that was there, because they all knew, hey, I got my hands up. Don't fucking shoot me. I got my hands up. You know, and it's crazy, if you got your hands up, why would you have to pull a gun anyway? But like you said, well, people carry guns or this, that. I don't know the laws for Nebraska. If it's anything like Chicago, I don't think Chicago's a right to carry state like Texas. You know, and like Chicago's one of the worst places in the world for crime. But I don't think that they should have. Don't mean they couldn't have had a gun. But man, that's just crazy. That's just crazy, man. And it's something like that that's out of our control. And we know that Terence Crawford has had a past. We know that Terence Crawford has changed his life around. We know he was once shot in the head. Dean Pickering, what's up, brother? Counterpunch to you. Bryce Productions, counterpunch. Hello. We know he was shot in the head. And he drove himself to the hospital. And the crazy thing is, I think that was either a wake-up call. But to take this type of abuse when you're a grown man with 7 children and you have just beat one of the biggest superstars in the sport, becoming one of the biggest superstars in the sport, I might add, then we got this. I'm going to tell you guys, I would like to know more. I would like to know more of what happened, because we don't know everything. And what we do know is already, you know, that just, it makes my blood boil, because I'm thinking like, you drew down on him. What right did you have? How and why? How could you justify pulling your gun? Did you see someone reaching for something? You know what I mean? And here's the sad thing. If there was no weapon and cops just did that, they were going to make up some shit that had happened. That's what pisses me off. Oh, well, it looked like one of the suspects were reaching up under the seat. That's why I approach with caution. Which, who's to know that? Crawford just got done fighting and now he wants to chill with his family. Would never happen to Usyk in the Ukraine. Well, I mean, Usyk got hemmed up. Was it in Poland? He got hemmed up. But no, you know, this is the thing that bothers me about the whole ordeal. This is what bothers me. I believe that Terence Crawford and everyone that was involved pretty much knew the seriousness of it. And I think they were in risk of being shot. I think the police were intentionally looking for a reason to be trigger happy. Based on what we've already seen them do for no fucking reason. Since we've seen them do that for no reason. Pull guns, draw down, all that shit. You know. We've seen these guys with their hands up. I think they would have been shot. If you would have had any type of dialogue back and forth between Terence Crawford or his crew, even though Terence was like, dude, I got my hands up. And that's basically to respond or correspond to the police officer. Hands! Like, dude, my hands are up. Don't reach for any weapon. My hands are up, dickhead. How am I reaching for any weapons? So, yeah, it's bad, man. It's bad. They should be cameraed up, like some of them. And they're supposed to. They're supposed to have a camera right here that records their POV. So it records everything that they do, allegedly, but that's not always safe. Because as you guys know, you know, I'm an actor and a stunt performer, right? Well, I played in a movie called Black and Blue. Black and Blue was filmed in New Orleans, and it was about a police officer that did a heinous crime. Well, it was a police officer that witnessed a heinous crime, you know, and they had their cam. So the whole movie, they were after that cam footage because it does document a lot, and it does, you know, reveal a lot of things that I believe a lot of police officers, especially the corrupt ones, try to cover up. They try to save their own ass because they know, like, look, this is the thing, you know, we have to sweep this under the rug. We have to cover this up. We have to protect our own. There's only one color and it's blue, right? That type of shit. So basically, yeah, they're just a big gang. Big gang, flexing their muscle, you know? That's all. Yeah. Change address 402. I agree. It could have went south, bro. We could have been looking at one of the best fighters in the world that will never fight again because he was killed by some punk ass cops that were either jealous, envious, racist, power hungry. Yeah, that would have been sad though. And I think people should understand that. This could easily happen. Imagine the sad shit someone did get shot right before they turned 38 years of age. That's crazy. But again, I salute Terence Crawford. He handled it professionally. He had everybody in the car, you know, didn't talk a lot of shit, because that's all you're doing. If you start talking shit to police officers, you're giving them reason. They can say you resisted, because all you have to do is have a reply, have a fucking counterpunch. All you have to do is ask questions when they tell you to do something. That is really technically considered resisting arrest. Oh, he was resisting arrest. He's resisting. You're resisting. And it doesn't even have to be you're resisting. All it has to do is it appears that you're resisting. Doesn't mean that you are. No. Doesn't mean that at all. So, listen. They handle that like they've been there before. And I look at the brighter side. What if it was some random dudes that they didn't know? You know what I mean? I wonder when they found out, like, yo, bro, you remember that big Netflix fight? Yeah. So? That was the guy that beat the redhead dude. That's Terence Crawford. No shit. Yeah, no shit. You morons. You buffoons. You idiots. Idiots, bro. But I'm glad it was Terence. Because, see, if these guys pulled over Terence and his boys thinking that they were just some regular old hoodlum, run-of-the-mill, mediocre black boys from Omaha that were across the tracks, I think that could have went south, or I think the same thing that's going to happen to these guys should happen. If I'm Terence Crawford, I should feel offended. I bet you he does. I want him to give a statement about the police officers. And since he has the, and so you guys know, he has the key. He has the key to the city. And he did ask the mayor, well, what does this open? Well, hopefully it opens some fucking respect and some power and some leverage. Hopefully it does that, because these police officers, they don't need to be suspended. They all need to go to fucking jail. I don't care if it was a sergeant and the guys that were with him that were only following his orders did this. I don't care who it was. Because at some point, someone had to look and say, hey, Sarge, can I talk to you for a minute? Sarge, can I talk to you for a minute? Yeah, Rooney, what is it? You know the guy's driving. You know that's Terence Crawford. Who the hell is Terence Crawford? That's the dude, he just beat Canelo. He's the boxer guy. He's the champion. He's the fucking champ. He has all the belts. Oh, fuck. You know what I mean? It had to be a situation like that for somebody to say, you know what? Damn. That guy? You know what I mean? Because at some point they had to uncuff him. They had to let him go. You know? Kurt, I'm interested to see the body cam video we can all that information. It's sad the undisputed champion isn't treated like a champ. No, they treated him like a criminal. They treated him like somebody that had and toted guns in his car, or had drugs, or or stole something. They treated him like a criminal. You know how many people have died in the exact situation that Bud was in? You see so many people die from situations like that when the cops is tripping for no reason. Yeah. They were looking for something to get off on. There are some sick people in this world. You have to keep in mind that most police that have shot someone in the line of duty, right? More than likely, they got the job expecting that type of thing to happen. And it's crazy because you're looking at the undisputed super middleweight champion of the world. You're looking at Sugar Ray Robinson. Imagine Sugar Ray Robinson being fucked with in his own town. Now, not to say that's never happened, because it has. You guys remember Reuben Hurricane Carter? This guy went to jail for 30 fucking years for something he didn't do. You know what I mean? Because they were just looking for two random black guys in a car. So they pulled them over and they made the charges stick. They didn't even look for the people that killed everybody in that bar or that cafe. Because it was a massacre, right? Where someone came in and killed everybody in the cafe. And the crazy thing about that situation was that shit was in the 60s. He didn't get out to the 90s until they let him off. And I'm like, what the fuck? Bro, you've been in there for 30 years. You have no career no more. Your boxing career is gone. He's damn near, he was in there longer than Ike Abuchi was. But hell, at least Ike did something to pretty much warrant him going to jail. You know what I'm saying? So it's crazy. But all in all, if I'm Terence Crawford, that would be my very next fight. My very next fight should be against the Omaha Police Department, precinct, wherever it applies, because it depends on where those cops were. You imagine you just coming back from a parade, because this ain't his first parade. This shit ain't experimental for Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford has had another parade. So for anyone saying, I don't know who that is, you need to be let go. You need to be let go. You don't know who this is to be pulling that type of shit. But before I go in, we're gonna go in because it's getting hot out here. That being said, I think there's something always happens for a reason. See, like you say, it could have been somebody else and they could have been shot last night. They could have killed 2-3 innocent minorities in that area. 2 or 3 black boys could have been killed. One of them shot or two, and then it would have been, oh, they were reaching for a gun or, some bullshit like that. It could have been that way, but it wasn't. It was Terence Crawford. And because it was Terence Crawford, those guys that pulled that malarkey last night was supposed to be fired. And that was a good way for them to be fired, because they don't belong on the force. They're a disgrace to the force doing that kind of bullshit. Fuck their justifications. Fuck their reasoning for using their pride and their egotistical excessive force to do something to someone that doesn't deserve it. Just because you're police officers. Just because you're an official gang and you're paid by the fucking state. That still doesn't warrant you messing with innocent people. Pulling guns on them like they ain't shit. Like they did something wrong. And your excuse, oh, I was scared. Bitch, get another job. Because there's a lot of people that's so afraid. So afraid. Oh God, I thought he was going for it. No, you were just so afraid of another human being because you're in the wrong profession. Most cops that are afraid like that, they should jump into forest fires or buildings on fire. They should become firemen. They shouldn't become cops. There's a lot of people that have no business being cops. That goes for firemen. That goes for military or soldiers in the armed forces. A lot of these guys that suffer with post-traumatic stress disorder and all that stuff, because a lot of them didn't supposed to be there. They're all shell-shocked and shit because they didn't supposed to be in the military doing what they were doing anyway. They're supposed to be doing something else. I think it's a certain thing that everyone is compatible with. Some people are, some people are not. But what they did to Terence Crawford and his people and his family and stuff, that shit was wrong. And I hope he does implement action. He should file a lawsuit, win a bunch of damn money, and then knowing Terence, he'll probably give it to charity or something. You know what I'm saying? Give it back to the youth foundations and, the after school centers. that are in his neighborhood. You know what I mean? But because Terrence ain't no bad dude. You know what I mean? That's what pisses me off. This ain't Tupac, motherfucker. That's what I don't get. Like, you know, like, not all black dudes are strapped and carry guns illegally and want to shoot you. That's not all black people. You know, and then the stereotypes, yeah, I know they're stereotypes for a reason, but even that, you know, what do you call those fucking guys? Hodge twins bullshit gets old. It gets old because you get tired of seeing, oh, we pulled over this guy. He fit the bill. So, you know, we were cautioned. So we told him to put their, because look, you can put your hands on the wheel, or you can put your hands up, right? And again, I'm not necessarily talking about myself, because me personally, I have more experiences. I've had some shitty experiences, but believe me, I've had more experiences where I've had positive police reactions. So it's not all cops or not all law enforcement. Because me saying that's bullshit, because that's not the truth. That's not the truth. But there are those guys. We can't overlook those guys that don't belong there. See, it was a reason that they got pulled over. They pulled over the wrong fucking car. And I can't wait for Terence Crawford to go up there and file an official complaint and get him a fucking lawyer, because it would be worth him getting a lawyer. He has the money to, and fighting him and prove that the reason they got pulled over was for a profile situation that had nothing to do with anything wrong with the car. You see what I mean? And then therefore those guys should be fired. Fire those motherfuckers before they fuck somebody else up like they did, and they put somebody else in that situation and it doesn't go like that situation was. Because believe it or not, people, common sense tells you that you don't supposed to say or do or talk any old crazy bullshit to police officers. It's just not smart. I know that. I hope you guys know that. But then here's the thing. Legally, you don't have to answer questions. Legally, you can be a dickhead. That's legal. I don't answer questions. Am I being detained? What the fuck do you want from me? Why did you pull me over? You need to give me a reason why you did these things. I don't answer questions. You know, these things, you have the right to remain silent. These things are real, people. Now again, would I do them? No, I wouldn't do that, because I want to be in compliant as possible, because I don't need any damn problems out of anybody. You know what I mean? That could have had a bad fucking day. This dude's wife could have left, and then he's pulling you over. He's ready to shoot everybody in the car. A few bad apples can bring the whole thing down. Yes. Correct. Dude, I'm going in. Hold on a second. In my local cop shop, they used to bring out a big book and tell you to pick a crime before they would let you go. Damn. That's crazy.
Kurt, to be honest, law enforcement is always hiring around the country. The American people have a grown disdain for police over their actions. High five, Kurt, and everyone. Bear shit, Bara Elohim. What's up, my brother? Kind of punch to you. Benice Mbaha from Namibia. Or is it Namibia? Or is it Nambia? But no, man. I feel bad for Terence, man. Because I know, especially when you've been dealing with that shit, and even if you haven't personally dealt with it and then it hits you like a slap in the face, that's bad for so many reasons. I mean, when you're talking about police brutality, excessive force, that type of stuff is bad. No, man, bear shit, Bara Elohim. You didn't hear? Terence Crawford. The police pulled a gun out on Terence Crawford after his parade. After the fucking parade. So more than likely, these were cops that were patrolling the parade, pulls over the guest of honor in the parade. Yeah, that happened. And you're looking at, you're like, okay, this was my parade. This was my parade. And you guys pull me over because you just think, oh, well, there's this, You know what I mean? It is bad, though. It's bad. Because you're profiling. And before we start, this could be a race thing, but more than likely, it don't have to be. Those cops didn't have to be white. Those cops could have been black, too. You know there's a lot of black dickhead cops, too. That's not a color thing. This is a cop thing versus a non-cop thing. Because you guys know cops, a lot of them protect each other. They protect their own. And because they protect their own, it's like this. Listen, look at those perpetrators. They're just perpetrators. They're guys that fit the bill. They're guys that they look up to no good. Why? Because Terence Crawford has long hair now and he keeps it braided. Oh my God, that's a sign of a thug. So let's pull him over. You know what I mean? You don't have to be you don't have to be a white police officer to do that shit. You could be a black one. They do the same bullshit. Jump out boys. You think all those guys you think these are 100% good old boys? No. Good old black boys. It sounds like that cop is a bad apple with a grudge over something. Well, big boys boxing. Let me tell you something. The silver lining is the fact that he pulled over the wrong person. The only thing is, I just hope Terence doesn't let this slide, which I don't think he's going to do because, again, bro, do you understand that they could have shot everybody? Okay, you got 4 people that are like this. 4 people that are like this, right? And something, an ant could have been on their leg. Somebody do this, bow, 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 bow. Because someone made a sudden move based on whatever. That could have easily been that case. That's a great line, being a dickhead doesn't discriminate by color. No, you could be a black dickhead, an Asian dickhead, a white dickhead, a brown dickhead. Bro, you can be a dickhead just based on what you've learned becoming a police officer. And what people don't understand about cops, they have a certain type of code and a credo that they follow. It's a gang. It's an official gang. You get hired by the city to serve and protect, right? An area. And they protect their own in that area. Okay? That's why Crawford needs to He needs to break. He needs to twist some arms in this situation to get those guys fired, because those kind of guys, those Derek Chauvin kind of dudes, Derek Chauvin, yeah, those kind of guys like that, they don't belong on the force. They need to get rid of them before they do something in a situation where it's easier for them to do what they wanted to do when they pulled over Terence Crawford. You think those guys draw down on Terence Crawford because they didn't want to shoot him? They pulled those guns because they wanted to. Oh, that was for their safety. Bullshit. You pulled the gun because you knew you had a gun to pull. You you could have pulled your taser. You could have done that. You didn't do that. Because you know, police has a taser here and a firearm here. They could have used non-lethal tactics. They didn't do that. They went right for the jugular. They pulled out a fucking handgun. They draw down with their flashlights to shoot anything that flashlight showed through the light. Whatever that light showed, the gun is right up under that to shoot whatever it was. So no, bro, I don't want to hear that shit. I don't want to hear it, because I've seen too many of these situations where police just do whatever the fuck they want and they get suspended. Some of them get suspended with pay. And then nothing happens. Oh, man. Oh, yeah, well, I thought I mistakenly I pulled my firearm instead of my taser weapon. And it went off accidentally in the back of the perpetrator or the victim. You gotta be fucking kidding me. Absolutely not, man. I was having a good day before that shit. Bear shit, bear Elohim. Exactly. That's what we've been talking about for the last 40 minutes. How could the police not know who the fuck Terence Crawford is when this man, him and another man, Canelo Alvarez, was in front of 41 million people? Or was it 41 million homes? Not people, homes. So yeah. So you can't tell me they didn't know who he was. They only said that shit to try to protect their jobs because they know, well, we pulled over Terence Crawford and, wait a minute, you knew it was Terence Crawford when you pulled him over? They couldn't go that way, because if they had prior knowledge that they knew who it was, they would really be up to Schitt's Creek without a paddle. I'm from France and I saw the viral video. Yeah. Every cop on duty that day would have been notified about Bud's event. Absolutely. If you don't watch boxing, if you don't know boxing, you know there is a fucking fighter that we're having a parade for because he did something that he didn't supposed to do. I think, honestly. He did something that nobody thought, well, I can't say nobody because I thought he could, but he beat Canelo Alvarez at a weight class that he's never fought in. He's had a parade already when he beat the shit out of Errol Spence and damn near half killed him. Right? So you mean to tell me that this guy from Omaha, Nebraska, what the fuck is Omaha, Nebraska known for? You know what I mean? So you can't tell me that they didn't know who he was. And again, if they didn't know who he was, and they were probably parading that parade. They were probably working the parade. Again, like Lou Brown said, a bulletin would have came out and was like, hey, we're having an honorary parade for the superstar boxer. He's a boxer from here and he is mad popular. Imagine they do that shit to Jamie Foxx in Terrell, Texas. Imagine they do that. I mean, it's just crazy. There is no way you can be pulled over and you don't know. And if you don't know, that means you don't care to know. That means you thought that this was a regular black dude that we're going to fuck with or we're going to shoot. If he gives us any shit, we're going to shoot him. Because if he doesn't do what I tell him to do, if I tell him to raise both of his hands and hop on one foot, and if he doesn't do that shit, I'm going to put 4 or 5 slugs in his ass. Because I'm bored and we ain't got nothing to do on a Saturday night. Right? Come to find out, it was Terence Crawford. Oh, I will be back to report this. And yes, I can't wait to see what Terence does. Because you know, Terence is pissed right now. Fucked this whole weekend up. It fucked this whole weekend up. This dude had a parade coming back in. Had a parade in his name, and then in his own town, some punk ass cops decide to say, hey, pull over. Hey, get your hands up. Don't go for any weapons. Come on, bro. It was the Mexican. Yep, the body cam will show what happened. It's public record. 3 sides of every story. Cop side, his side, and the truth. Maybe they better on Canelo and lost and they are angry at Crawford. I don't know, man. I don't think so, though, because I just believe that initially they didn't know who Terence. They didn't know it was Terence. They just thought it was a perp until they found out who that was. What I'm saying is, people, is they should have known who he was the minute they looked in that car and he turned around. Oh, fuck. Hey guys. Hey, how you doing? Terence, bud. Can I have a picture? Can I have a picture, a selfie with you? That's how it should have been. That's how it should have been. It should have never got to that point where they draw down on the whole fucking car. Now, I will say this. He wasn't by himself. Okay? Since he wasn't by himself, I've been in situations like this before. I don't know if whoever he was with had some type of issue. You know what I mean? That could be the case, just to look on the other side, because, you know, everyone knows that knucklehead friend that doesn't tell you everything they have on their peoples, on their person, getting in your damn car. And he might have had some weeds, a illegal firearm, some other drugs or whatever. He might have a warrant. You don't know who that was. But knowing Crawford, Crawford doesn't look like the guy to me to discriminate with people from his neighborhood. You know what I mean? So it could have been that way, maybe. All I'm saying is, even if that was the case, and they were looking at everyone else except for Terence Crawford, they should have seen it was Terence Crawford, though. Crawford should sold his soul time for a sacrifice. The higher ups effing with him. They need to feed the demon. Kurt, is Terence driving Prius? Because how is any fancy cars in Omaha? I don't know what he was driving. I can just tell you, they pulled that car over. We don't know why the car was pulled over. And they draw their guns. They pull the weapons. They're lethal weapons. Their pistols, their security 9mm, their Rugers, their Glocks, or whatever. They pulled it on Terence Crawford and everyone in the car while their hands were up. So they did that while their hands were up. You see, does that make sense? You're supposed to do that shit, pull your weapon when they're not compliant. When a police tells you, put your hands in the air, right? Put your hands where I can see them. That's exactly what you should do. I mean, anybody knows that, right? When you got a guy that has a gun, put your hands where I can see him. Boom. Kurt, a lot of officers are ignorant of the law department or hire anybody with a pulse. I guess so. Well, that guy or those people with a pulse, they should be fired. Eunice Butterball, counterpunch to you, brother. CC Motion, 1998. What's up, my brother? Counterpunch to you. Maybe they were drinking. Maybe. But I need to see what took place. When I do see someone getting pulled over, I do wonder. That person got pulled over. Sometimes I'm wondering better them than me, honestly, but I do wonder, what did that guy do? Was he speeding? Did he change? Did he use his signal by taking a left or right turn? You know, what did he do? You know? What the F? I'm just hearing about this now. Gabe, yeah. They, not only that, they arrested, they handcuffed Terence Crawford. They pulled the guns out on him and his crew, or whoever he was with, right? Whoever was in his company. They had a pistol waving it around in the face, put them in handcuffs, and nobody knows why. I don't know, Gabe. I don't know if he was I don't know if he was arrested. I think he was arrested. But then no. I don't know if I know he was handcuffed, and I think that was a bit extreme. Because why would you handcuff somebody that you're not going to arrest? You see what I mean? That doesn't even make sense. But it is what it is. It had to be a felony car stop for guns to be drawn. So you think Terence Crawford was just hanging around the wrong crowd of people? Kurt, why are people saying Crawford ahead of Floyd? Well, ask yourself this question. Where was Floyd? Who was Floyd's best? What was Floyd's best win? That's what you ask yourself. What's Floyd's best win? If I were the cops, I would take Crawford to the police station, put him in a cell, and say surprise, and handed him a trophy. That would be some dope shit. It would be different if that was one of those things like, dude, we know who you are. We were just fucking with you. And I think he would have loved that. Maybe it was De La Hoya, but like, ask yourself this question. Did Bud beat Canelo better than Floyd beat Oscar De La Hoya? Since that's his best win. Because, I mean, isn't it fair to say Crawford's best win is Canelo Alvarez? Crawfish is a sellout, a.k.a. Crawford. Okay. I mean, he did beat Oscar, Pac-Man, and Canelo. I mean, he did, yeah. So, there you go. So a lot of people, and including me, I said that. I'm like, look, if Crawford beats Canelo, he's better than Floyd. Floyd said it was easy work, but De La Hoya wouldn't. Well, the cops effed up. Bud gets both the Canelo money and the police department money in 2025. Gabe, you're right. And he should push forward, and they should be fired. In fact, they have to be fired if they're getting a lawsuit. Because see, if those police cost the city money by paying Terence, somebody got to go. Somebody's salary has to get ate up to take care of that whatever amount of money. That's probably about $250,000. That's probably a $200,000 to $250,000 lawsuit. Yeah. Kurt, in 12th round bout, you rolling with Floyd or Crawford? You got to go for Crawford now. He's older. Let's stop the nostalgia because no, Floyd is not 38. Floyd is 48. He's 48 years of age. This dude's like 3 years older than me. Way over. He's almost 4 years older than me. So that being said, he's 3 years older than me. That being said, it's like Floyd, the only thing that we can see Floyd do is what he can do right now with someone like Crawford, and he wouldn't win. And if he fought someone like Crawford now, it would be kind of stupid because I'm like, Floyd, you moron. Why didn't you fight him 7, 8 years ago? See, I think because Floyd fought Manny Pacquiao when he was 38 years old. Yeah. Just like Crawford fought Canelo when he was 38 years old. Or, well, almost 38, right? Are you 4 years older than me, Kurt? Yeah. Actually, my birthday's next week. So next Thursday, my birthday will be next Thursday. So it's the time of the Libras, you know? The Libra time. If they had the chance, they probably would have shot Crawfish. Nah, they would have done nothing that stupid. Bro, if they would have shot Terence Crawford, those guys would have probably got life. They would have got life, all of them. In life or accessory to murder, or a conspiracy to commit murder. Yo, they would have threw the book at that police officer because we still don't know if there was a probable cause to pull them over. Kurt, I saw a Floyd interview. He hates not having the spotlight. It's funny, but it's really sad. That's Floyd. Now, those boys wouldn't made it to the county if that happened. Nah. But hey, man, that's that. Terence Crawford's 38 years of age, man. He's 38. I'm glad he's okay. I'll have more news about it, you know, when it comes about, to see what he does. I'm going to be all over this story because justice has to be prevailed. We have to see justice in this situation. We need the facts, first of all. And then if we find out it's utter, total, over-the-mill bullshit, Terence Crawford and everyone he was with needs justice. They need justice, man. You can't let that shit go. And then you got the same cops doing the same shit to some different people. That ain't Terence Crawford. And what happens is they end up shooting one or two. Because and again, this is not a white or black thing. Because if you want to talk about stats, it's not the white cops shooting or killing the blacks, right? Or the black people or the black or minority. It's whites killing whites. But you just don't hear about it because it's not with the narrative. So you have more cops kill more white people than white cops shooting black people. Now, the problem is once that happens, you're going to hear about it because racism sells. Unfortunately, it's going to sell because it's like, oh, white cop kills black unarmed civilian. You know what I mean? Versus somewhere like in Nebraska where there are a lot of European-ish white people, right? Non-black people. Yeah, cops shoot a lot of them. I'll tell you something. Let me ask you guys a question. Okay. I want one or I want two. One for yes or two for no. Without, honestly, people. Don't go to the internet. Honestly, ask yourself this question. From just by saying yes for one and two for no. Did you guys hear of what happened to Caleb Plant? Yes or no? One or two? Did you guys hear what happened to Caleb Plant? Please. Two. No. Two. Keep going. Nobody knows what happened to Caleb Plant. Keep going. No. Two. Keep going. Did anybody ever hear about what happened to Caleb Plant? Did anybody hear? Please don't go to the internet. Don't do that. Did anybody hear what happened to Caleb Plant? Fucking incredible. Incredible. Am I still seeing a bunch of fucking twos? Does anybody know what happened to Caleb Plant? Does anybody know what happened to Caleb Plant? We got 49 people. I've got about 20 no's. I haven't seen a yes yet to know what happened. Okay, no. Does anybody know what happened to Caleb Plant? You know Caleb Plant, right? Sweet hands, Caleb Plant from what was he from? He's from Tennessee, right? Nobody knows what happened to Caleb Plant. No one knows why Caleb Plant has a chip on his shoulder bigger than Mount Everest. Nobody knows this. No. Yeah, the Charlo slapper. Yes, he is the Charlo slapper. Yes, chin got weak. No. So no. Okay. A lot of no's. A lot of no's. Okay. Caleb Plant, his mother was shot and killed by cops. That's what happened to Caleb Plant's mom. And here's the thing. You don't hear about that shit. Why you don't? Why don't you? Because it's white on white. Like her being white and the cop being white means no news. It's very important news. Yeah. Caleb Plant's mother was gunned down by police. Now you can verify if you want to, because now I told you and you can verify. Don't take my word for it. Verify. Look it up. Caleb Plant grew up fucked up. Let me look it up for you guys. Let me look it up for you. Let's read it together. Caleb Plant's mom. Look, DA releases body cam video of officer involved in shooting that killed Beth Plant. March 22nd, 2019. This shit wasn't in 85. This shit wasn't in 80. It was in 97. This shit was in 2019. Now, when was this? March 22nd, 2019. 2019. Do you understand how long ago? That was 6 years ago. That was recent, bro. And nobody heard shit about it. Hell, that was back when Caleb was still undefeated. He was still an undefeated fighter. He was an Al Heyman fighter. And his mom got killed by police in Tennessee. Look, Caleb Plant's mother was Beth Plant, who was shot and killed by police in Cheltenham County, Tennessee in March of 2019. Do you guys understand that none of you guys knew? And that's crazy. And I was just pulling that as an example to let you guys know, listen, these stories that you hear are narratives that only are exploited or exposed for certain reasons. If Caleb Plant if his mom was an African-American lady that was shot by cops, you would have heard that shit nationwide. That shit would have been bigger than not Trayvon Martin, but what's the other cat up there in Minnesota? It would have been bigger than all that. Kurt, I knew this. Why are you talking about it? You are the only one. The reason I'm talking about it is because it wasn't promoted like other situations. That's why. So, point being, there's a lot of cop shootings. You hear about somebody probably got shot last night, probably in Omaha. You ain't gonna hear about it though. It ain't gonna reach the news. Yeah, she attacked him, but she still got her ass shot though, didn't she? Dean Pickering, you're the man, Kurt. The point is, no one knew about it, Quan Big Guns. I'm not saying that. Yeah, no one knew about this news. A lot of people were not even informed that Caleb Plant's mom was shot and killed. Okay? Kurt, Jack Paul has a chance against Tank or not? Jake Paul? I don't know. Who cares at this point? I'm not talking about that guy right now. George Floyd was in Minnesota. Okay, George Floyd. You know, and it's crazy, you know. So we don't really hear a lot about that, you know, but it just shows you people, you know, they promote news based on what they feel that sells or what they want you to know. You know what I mean? So yeah, like, but that's fucking Caleb Plant. That's his mama. That's Caleb Plant's mama. You know what I mean? Now, if Caleb Plant was like Charlo, if this was Charlo's mom, I would have been everywhere. So yeah. So I'm glad this didn't happen. But the thing is, the police officers that went to this degree because they were cautious, they need to be fired. They don't need to be police officers. They can go back to school, become paramedics, firemen, something like that. Not police officers, man, because you have to have a certain temperament and understanding. You have to be cognitive of what the fuck's going on, you know, to be a police officer. You can't be someone fearful of every fucking thing. You shouldn't be a police officer. You gonna shoot somebody because you're scared? I thought he was going for a gun. So yeah, but I mean, it's the point is, why didn't you hear about it? Why didn't we hear about Caleb Plant's mom? That shit was 6 years ago. Bro, that's kind of new. That's fresh. That's a year. Matter of fact, that's a year before the, what's his name? George Floyd incident. You heard all about the George Floyd. Why did you hear more about the George Floyd? Because you heard more about George Floyd because, well, one, it was on the fucking internet. People seen it. But for two, it was a white cop, black dude. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's going to be publicized in that way, and it's going to be titled in that manner. Right there. Boom. You know what I mean? He's black, he was high, he was whatever, you know, and the dude put his fucking knee on his neck and he suffocated him. That's what happened. And then the bitch is in jail. Did he die? Somebody killed him, didn't they? Or did somebody get him? I know somebody got him. I don't know if they killed him. I was in riots in Minnesota for weeks. It was riots in Minnesota for weeks. Yeah. There was no riot or none of that shit for Caleb Plant's mom. But then again, if somebody has a knife and they're waving it at you, you know what I mean? That doesn't mean you have to shoot them. Now, it depends on how close they are to you, though. You don't want somebody right up on you. Because here's the thing about a knife. If you know how to use a knife, you can kill a motherfucker quick. In some situations, you'd rather have a knife than a pistol. Because you got to pick the pistol up now. You know what I mean? But even if someone is that close to you, you know, they can take you out of there with that. So I'm not saying that it was wrong for what the police did. I'm saying, why didn't we hear about it? So it's not all about justifying or not. It's all about the publication of certain things, the reason why certain things are pushed versus other things that are swept under the rug and you never hear about it. And for Terence Crawford, you're going to hear about this. For one, everybody's talking about Terence Crawford right now because he just kicked some serious ass. For two, we were supposed to be celebrating his birthday along with the parade. What happens third? Cops pull him over, being dumb assholes. More than likely, they could have been some racist cunts profiling some black guys, and come to find out it was Terence Crawford. I think if you look at it though, because I'm still kind of shocked and I'm really low key pissed off. You know what I mean? I'm pissed off about the situation because I'm just thinking and understanding how bad it could have became. That could have been bad. But I will feel a lot better when legal action is taken against the police officers. And I'm going to share something with you guys, right? In 2019, or was it 18? No, it was 2019. No, it was 2018 turning into 19. I was doing a video at a gas station, right? And I was in a rural town, it was in Louisiana, in a rural town of Louisiana. And I used my phone to upload my videos. So, this was 6 years ago, 6, 7 years ago, right? So I finished the video, and the video that I finished had to upload. So it only goes on the amount of bars, how well your signal is dictates how fast it uploads, right? So I did the video, uploaded the video. Now keep in mind, this is before thumbnails, this is before editing, this is me videotaping from my phone to YouTube, right? With the title and all that. So I sit there, and you guys know how bad I am because I suffer from, I'm narcoleptic, right? Narcolepsy. I suffer from that. And I was waiting for the video to upload, and I'm sitting in the car. And keep in mind, this is New Year's Eve. So this was January 1st, 2019. And I'm sitting in the car. Then, of course, narcolepsy kicked in. I'm sleeping. Out cold. I'm out cold, people. And I get awakened by the window. So I put my window down, or I open the door, one of them. And he was like, "Hey, what are you doing here?" Because the gas station was closed. And I told him, me being compliant, I'm like, "Hey, man, well, I was just uploading the video because I stay out. Because if I would have went home, you guys probably would have still been waiting for that damn video." Because we didn't really have service like that, back in those days. We didn't have fiber optic or any of that like we have now. Especially where my dad and my family house was, right? So I explained that to him, and I told him, I said, yeah, I'm just uploading a video or whatnot. And I guess, he's looking all around in the car with his flashlight because it's black. So, and he looks down and he sees some medicine. And the medicine didn't have my name on it because it was the girl that I was dating. It was her medicine, but it wasn't like a narcotic. It was like some antibiotic bullshit, but it had her name on it. And since it had her name on it, he was like, "Well, whose medicine is that?" I'm like, "Well, it's a chick I talked to or whatever." And he's like, "Oh, well, because a lot of times, this medication, it's in your car, but it's not in your name, raises a red flag, and yada, yada, yada." I'm like, "Okay, whatever, motherfucker. I don't care." You know what I mean? You want to call her? I don't know what you want me to do with it. Because it was the type of medicine that you take, little clear pills that you take for, what was it? Bronchitis. So they were kind of to soothe your bronchial, supposed to take the bacteria out of your tubes. That's what it was supposed to be for. So he goes back to his car and he's like, "Man, can you leave the door open?" I'm like, "Man, can I close this motherfucker? Because it's like 19 degrees. It's January 1st. That's the coldest time in Louisiana. Here in Texas, January 1st. Early January, it's cold. Now, keep in mind, we probably have at least 2 weeks of that, maybe 3. But it was cold. So he comes back to the car and he says, "Man, I just, I don't know about this lead number. This medicine." And I'm like, "Okay, I don't know what else you want me to do about it." It's not my medicine. And he, what he did was, he was like, can I search your car? I'm like, yeah, you can search the car. So he searches the car and he's with another guy. I guess that guy was his, his wingman, right? So he didn't look like he had more pull than him. So he looked at the car, went all around the car. He checked whatever he had to. He checked the trunk. I had a gun in there. That was no problem. This is Louisiana, right? He took the gun shell out. I took the bullet out of the chamber or whatever, put it back in there, unchambered the gun, and and kept looking. I'm like, okay. So he's like, all right, man, just have a good night. Be careful out here. These are some crazy people around New Year's, blah, 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 blah. Because, I guess he wanted me to be drinking. I guess he, normally you see somebody passed out, they might be drunk. But I wasn't even drinking, right? So I get home. And at the time, right, this is pretty much right after, this is right after the Tyson Fury versus Deontay Wilder fight. The first fight where it was a draw. And I get home, and would you know it, the money that I made, because I worked at a casino, right? I was a server at a casino at the time. And the tips that I made were in this bank bag. But the bank bag was in the fucking glove compartment. Get this. If you know anything about General Motor cars, the latch that opens the glove compartment, if you try to open it, if it's locked, it won't pull. It will be stiff. So you're trying to open it unless you pull it and you break the lock. If you break the lock, the door won't open, but it's loose because you've broken it. The bitch broke it. He broke it. And when I found out I couldn't open, I'm like, you stripped the lock. I called the sheriff's department. Another sheriff comes out. And this time I'm pissed because I had like $400 in there. So I'm sitting here like, dude, I can't get in my fucking glove compartment because the dude popped the lock. He should have asked me for the key, right? But I know he broke it because he didn't ask me for the key. If you're supposed to be doing a full search, why in the hell wouldn't you ask me for the key if you knew you didn't break the lock? He broke and it was like, bow, oh shit. Oh, never mind. Let's keep going. So he looks at every place except the glove compartment. Now, keep in mind, if he was searching for contraband drugs or whatever, don't you think he would have wanted to know what's in that glove compartment? Hell, at this point, it could have been C4. It could have been a fucking bird of cocaine. It could have been anthrax. It could have been anything in there that was illegal that I didn't supposed to have. It could have been any of those things. But guess what? He didn't look at it because he know he broke the fucking latch. So the dude was like, man, I can't, this is past my pay grade, so I'm gonna have to get this and expedite this to my sheriff, because they were deputies. So I'm like, okay, man, it's still fucked up because, I can't get in here. So I had to go to my cousin, and my cousin's a mechanic, and he had to kind of find a way to open the lock without, So he had to break in it because they broke the latch. It's still broke to this day with that car. The sheriff calls and he's like, listen, well, I don't see that, good old boy. I don't see that, man. I don't see that he did anything bad to your car. I just thought he was just opening it. I'm like, that's the point. He didn't open. He broke the latch. He didn't intentionally break anything. I'm just letting you know that right now. I'm like, you didn't hear what I said. I didn't say he intentionally did anything. I said he broke the latch. You don't got to get mad with me. I'm going to tell you something. He didn't do anything wrong, and I'm going to back my boy. That wasn't a felony car stop, Kurt. You should have made him get a warrant. Yeah, I could have, but the whole point was there was nothing in the fucking car that was illegal. And since he broke the latch from the glove compartment, he never checked the glove compartment because he knew he broke the latch. Yeah, it was intact because nobody could get in there until my cousin opened it. It wasn't like he opened it, broke in, and took my money. No, no, it wasn't any bullshit like that. He just didn't check it because he knew he broke it because he pulled on it. Pow! Oh, fuck. Because at that point, I know he knew. Because the minute he said, hey, do you have a key to your glove compartment? I would have said, yeah, I had a key to it. And then I would have checked it to see, okay, wait a minute. Dude, you broke my latch. Yeah. The sheriff didn't do anything. Oh, he didn't do anything. I looked at the cam footage and he was just trying to open it. Fucking moron. Redneck hick cunt. That's what he was. And the thing about it just lets you know, though, to prove my point, that they will protect their own. They did nothing. Now, I could have got a lawyer. I didn't have money for all that bullshit. You know what I mean? I could have had that. I could have, you could have sued, but then that costs money to sue because the lawyers will, they're going to get 30 or 35% of whatever the kickback is, plus their lawyer fees. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, because fucking Ark, the goddamn redneck sheriff, was just more like, oh, he didn't do anything. I looked at the camera footage and he was just doing a procedure or search. And the lawyers are family members of the same cops. Yep. Bro, this is Louisiana. This shit's foul, bro. If you win a lawsuit, you better move the fuck out of town because you're going to come up missing. Don't worry, that boy ain't going to be able to spend any of that goddamn money. Ain't spending shit. He got $250,000 from my goddamn treasury. We're going to take his ass down to the bayou. You ready, Carl? Let's get him. Let's take his ass out of there and string his black ass up and hang him. Yeah, man, no. So, I mean, those type of things happen. That's what they were counting on. Most people won't pay for legal costs and leave it. Yeah. The J. Roos theory, Crooked Popo were deep in call back in the 80s and 90s. And Cali back in the 80s and 90s. Yeah. I mean, they're everywhere, including Nebraska. J. Roos, where you been, man? You've been a tough mama to find. But it's crazy, man. It's crazy with Terence. I think since Terence has the money, and I didn't, I think he should up the ante. He should push the issue. He should definitely be the guy that exposes those guys. The only problem is that, corrupted cops, I don't think that there's, like, when they get found out about and, like, you strip pension from a police officer, they might go fucking rogue. You got to remember, these are cops. I mean, if they have ever covered up any type of crime, if they've, and they've made a career out of it or a habit out of it, chances are they could kill you possibly and get away with it, and nobody will never know what happened to you. You know what I mean? There's so many situations where people were just executed and murdered because either they did the wrong thing, they exposed the wrong person, or they were in the wrong place at the wrong time. And for Terence Crawford, he might be up against someone that is, that has 18, 19 years on the force and retires in a year with pension and shit like that. And if he gets fired, he loses all of it, right? I'm assuming. I'm not sure. The courts protect him. Probably so. Rialto and San Bernardino PD. No, different here in the UK. It's a shitty situation. They want his money. They might want his money. Because they know he's made, you hear about that Terence Crawford boy? Some of the bitches made $41 million. Some bitches, $50 million? I want 5. You know, that's why there is electric gun now, because the police officer gets confused all the time. Well, that's the whole point. They didn't draw electric gunfire, non-lethal. See, if it was non-lethal, I wouldn't have a problem with it at all. You know? But no, man, nonetheless, I'm glad that he was able to walk away from it. I will give you guys update. Jay Roos, give me a holler, man. And hey, he turns 38 today, and like Alexander Usyk says, 38 is only start. Right? So, you know, Kurt, remember Hurricane? Yeah, I talked about Ruben Hurricane Carter earlier in the live. Yeah, I remember him. I was talking about that earlier, man. So if you got time, look at, you know, the previous earlier rant in this particular live stream. But shout out to Terence Crawford, man. He had a parade. They tried to stop his shine, and they found out that, you know, he was a superstar that they were pulling over and harassing. So I hope all of them get fired in the good old name of sweet Lord Jesus. But you guys be blessed, be safe. You got more content coming at you constantly from Counterpunch Boxing News. I will see you guys tomorrow. I will post as soon as new information unravels concerning Terence Crawford and the crooked bullshit stop from the police. Of course, please subscribe, like, and share, everybody. And you guys have all been counterpunched. Peace.